And the studio audience is already giving me a hard time here. Awesome. Did some clapping going and whatnot. Welcome to the Main Event Podcast. I'm Stephen McCollum, of course. Monday morning, 10:30 here. Getting ready to rock and roll here after everybody had a long Christmas weekend. Hopefully everybody had a good time. You got what you wanted. Santa brought you what you wanted. All that fun stuff, hopefully. I didn't get anything. So, yeah, thanks everybody. Thank you. Talking to you. You. On a serious note, had a good weekend. Good times. Hope everybody did. So, we have intern is here today. She decided to stop by and do the podcast. The reason I'm a little bit late a little bit because she takes her time and likes to gab and wants to talk. Like, dude, I gotta get on the show. But she's back in here today. If you guys could see the looks I was getting right now, I could see out of the corner of my eyes. But a lot of news this weekend, right? Over the holiday weekend. New Year's is coming up. Of course, you got the New Year's Bowl games going this week. And I made the announcement last week on the radio show on Wednesday nights, 6 to 8 p.m., 1580 The Fanatic. This week, we're going on Thursday night at 6 to 8 p.m. because of a GCU basketball game. So we're moving to New Year's Eve. So while you're getting ready to have a party around your house or if you're going out and, you're getting your New Year's mask going and all of that stuff, tune in to 1580 on the app or whatever Thursday night. Wednesday night, I won't be there. So, but we're going to get into college bowl games then. Obviously, the New Year's bowl games, the playoff games happen on Friday after that. So we'll talk about that on Thursday night. We'll talk a little bit about it here today because, of course, this is the week where there's going to be a ton of news on it. All the coaches are going to be yapping, and it's already started. But one thing, really quick here, a little production note. Sound good? All right. I said, sound good? She goes, always. I know, right? The way it should be. The best part of this is nobody knows I'm just talking to myself. I'm pretending like I have an intern in here. So, oh, did I just let that out? Oops. I'm about to cut that out here. Cut it out. Cut it out live. How do I do that? How do I cut that out? Breaking Major League Baseball news. Spring training is supposed to start here in another, month and a half or so. And nobody knows if it's going to happen because, of course, the sides are fighting like they always do over COVID rules and owners not wanting to start the season until everybody's, vaccinated or whatnot on there. But Padres comes out this morning. San Diego Padres are near a trade to acquire, of course, Blake Snell from the Rays, of course, former Cy Young winner. And all-around good guy, I'm assuming. If you remember, he's one of the instrumental pieces that got the Rays to the World Series last year, and solid, right? So, according to my sources on the internet, San Diego Padres are going to give up pitching prospect Luis Patino, catcher Francisco Mieda, and Blake Hunt, and a right-handed pitching prospect, Cole Wilcox, in order to get Blake Snell. So the only big name there is Mejia, Francisco. Let's go. Those of us that know him call him Francisco. I'm gonna keep it personal. And but that's huge for the Padres, right? Because they made a big trade last year. Obviously, went under Tommy John, and they need a pitching stat. So Padres are in this National League West. I had to switch to baseball there. I almost said NFC West. National League West. They're making a play for a nice young team, and starting pitcher with Blake Snell would be huge. So have fun this year, Diamondbacks, playing the Padres even more so. So the Dodgers and the Padres in this division now. Of course, Blake Snell is 28 years old, and interesting. Of course, he famously was thrown, through 5.5 awesome innings. And then the Tampa Bay manager went out, pulled him out of the game, and then the Padres went on to lose um, the game. And then, of course, they lost the series. The Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series last year. Big moment in there for Blake Snell. But the Padres have been aggressive, and last year they were aggressive in their moves. This year they're aggressive in their moves. And they've been in the middle of trade talks all winter long. So basically, if somebody's going to be traded, some big name's going to be traded, the Padres were a team that was named in all of them. And they were apparently discussing deals for Yu Darvish from the Cubs, Sonny Gray from the Reds. But it looks like Snell's the guy that they're able to snag. And Snell's contract is $39 million over the next 3 years, which actually isn't bad for a starting pitcher, especially a Cy Young starting pitcher. So this is a great pickup by the Padres in there. So he's always been with the Rays. It was a first-round pick in 2011, but he didn't make it to the majors till 2016. But he's always been in the Rays organization and everything. Of course, in 2018, he went 21-5, 1.89 ERA, and won the American League Cy Young Award. Anybody care? I have his like league stats. We all know he's good, right? Like, this isn't somebody where everybody's like, "Oh, he sucks. What are they doing?" What the heck? 5 major league seasons. He's 42 for 30 with 3.24 ERA, and the same ERA he had in 2020. By the way, 648 strikeouts and 556 innings, and over 108 starts. Whew. All right, he's good. I concur. You convinced me. Obviously, so they're giving up a bunch of people, young guys to go to the Rays, which is the Rays deal. They want all the young guys there and everything. So, obviously, the Padres last year, I think it was September, they acquired Mike Clevinger from Cleveland. Oh, it was August. Well, it helps if I read. It's right there in front of me. I'm just going to lie and say it's September. I'm sorry, I don't know what he's talking about. It was September. Of course, Clevinger threw 19 innings for the Padres, but he did have to go into Tommy John surgery, which means he will miss the 2021 season, but he'll be back for the 2022 season. So the Padres, not this year, obviously the next year, 2022, they'll have Clevinger, Snell, and a team that's super young right now and energetic and can hit the ball, and they're ready to go. So even with Clevinger being out, the Padres boast a strong rotation as they try to catch the Dodgers in the National League West Division. Of course, they still have Chris Paddock there. Zach Davies, Lamet as their starters. So they have a bunch of potential number 5 starters. And this article says, I'm going to quote it here, a panoply of potential number 5 starters. Panoply. What? Why do writers and reporters, when they're doing stuff, why do they use words that nobody uses? Are they trying to be smarter than us? Let's see who. Okay, hold on. I have an important question here for intern, because she is a school teacher. She's minding the youth of America here. Let me do something here. Production thing. Hold on. Testing. Hello. No, is it not working? Hello. Okay. How'd that sound? Oh, she's not even listening. That's awesome. I'm listening. Well, if you listen live, you'll hear it in a second. All right. You're on the mic, by the way. So tell me something. 4th grade teacher here in the house. First of all, how do you pronounce that word? Panoply. Seriously? Stupid. What does it mean?
It means probably a collection of a lot of things.
You're just using.
Pan is a prefix.
Oh my gosh.
Little things.
All right. Well, let's just ruin the show. I apologize to everybody that I've ruined the show here. Um,
It.
I thought you would be more energetic to answer a dumb question on why this reporter. I'm trying to figure out Panopoly. Okay, hold on.
What does it actually mean?
I don't know. Hold on, Tiger. Figured the teacher would know.
I just told you what it actually meant.
I know. We're gonna check if you're right. A complete or impressive collection of things.
So because I didn't say impressive,
Yeah, you're wrong.
that
A
was
s-
not wrong.
A splendid display.
Well, why would you have collected if it wasn't splendid?
It's impressive.
So I was
Oh,
right.
also,
I was right.
also, historical literary, a complete set of armor or suit of armor.
Well, that was going to be the next thing I said.
Yeah, that's what you were gonna go with, right? So anyway, why do reporters do dumb things like use big words that I have to look up in the middle of a thing, right?
That wasn't on your word of the day toilet paper.
No, it was on a calendar, but I don't look at that calendar. I can't say or figure out half the words. Why would I? Why would I all of a sudden look at that calendar, man? Because then I look on the calendar and it gives me a word, and then I'm like, I don't even know what that means. How do you pronounce that? And then I have to go to Google Translator or whatever that is, where they pronounces it for you. And so you get it, and then once you get that, then you're like, oh, what does that mean? And then you try to use it in a sentence, and you just sound like a moron.
Or you could just call me.
Like, oh yeah, because you just really helped. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Look at that calendar, man. Because then, right. All right, so she's done. She's done. She's off the show forever.
Are you unplugging me?
Never. Well, because it's gonna be live otherwise, and we all know how you swear like a sailor, so we have to. She doesn't. Okay. So anyway, now that we've been sidetracked because this writer, who is this article I'm looking at, oh, Jeff Passan, no less. Jeff Passan. Oh my gosh! Now I know I use his big words nobody knows. His name's all can't even pronounce his name. It's Monday, folks. It's Monday. So, back to the article at hand. They have an impressive array of potential number 5 starters. The Padres do. Or, for you smart people, Panopoly. Panopoly? Pineapple? Oh well. The Rays rotation will take a huge hit with the Snell trade. And of course, Charlie Morton left to go sign with Atlanta this offseason. So, I mean, that's a big loss for them. And but they're a young team, right? They're the lowest payroll team in Major League Baseball last year. Made it all the way to the World Series. Good for them, right? Good for them. And that was your Major League Baseball news, brought to you by me and Jeff Passan. See, now I'm screwing around. Now I'm really messing it up because I don't even know at this point. I've confused it all completely. So, Major League Baseball news. We'll expect more of that coming up here if they get the season going in the next month or so. And we'll report it as it comes up. Good for us. Some NBA news. If I learn to talk here. Look, the NBA season has started. It's way too early to figure out what's going to happen in the world of NBA basketball, right? Especially after what we saw yesterday. And by that, I mean that the Kawhi Leonard decides to sit for the Clippers yesterday. And it went pretty well for the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard not playing. The Clippers went out. They warmed up. They stretched out really good. They did their shoot around before. They did that little layup drill you do before basketball, and then the guy rebounds it and throws it to the next guy, and then he goes and gets in line, and the guy leans it up again. I mean, that all went splendidly for the Clippers. It was just a great opening series of warm-ups. I mean, they snapped their pants off really good, and they were going in the game after they warmed up, and they took their jersey off really well. I mean, it just went great leading up to the game with Kawhi Leonard sitting out. And the Clippers, I mean, they were just ready to go. And then the game started. And I'm just going to forget a lot of the theatrics here, but it was 77-27 at halftime. Mavericks with a 50-point lead. The largest ever for an NBA game. And I was going to tweet out to be funny when I was watching football. But I was going to tweet out and be like, oh, good, Clippers are gonna come back and win this game because it's the NBA, right? And whoever has a big lead always comes back into it. The Mavericks shot 58% from the field. Josh Richardson, of all people, scored 15 points during the historic half. The interesting thing is the Clippers played without Kawhi Leonard, but they are one of the deepest teams in the league. But they just didn't show up. Nope. Needless to say. Clippers shot 24% from the field. That's hard to do, folks. That's hard. Of course, Kawhi Leonard had 8 stitches in his mouth as a result of taking a blow to the face. Probably should watch that phrasing there. In Friday night's game. So he did not play, of course, because he got stitches after blowing the face. Look, what a man does in his own time, I feel like we need to broadcast it. But stitches. It's Monday, folks. It's Monday. Stick with me here. It's Monday. So 50 points, pretty bad. Obviously, after the first week of the NBA season, inevitably there's a power pull out. Do you want to bet that the Clippers are not the number 1 team in the NBA or the number 2 team in the NBA after a 50-point loss yesterday? Because they're not. Not even close. Lakers are number 1. Brooklyn Nets are number 2. I don't know. I might put the Nets in front of the Lakers. Nets look really good, even though they are 2-1. But so are the Lakers. They lost to the Clippers to begin the year. Pacers are 3rd. Clippers are 4. Last week they were 4. Oh, so they didn't go up or down after yesterday's fiasco. This is the best part is, right? In 48 minutes, they went from 3rd in offensive efficiency through Saturday to 21st in offensive efficiency after yesterday's game. That is a mighty tumble. So, yeah. Orlando Magic are 5. Wow. Denver Nuggets are 6. Miami Heat 7. Phoenix Suns are 8 with a record of 2-1. So here's my question, folks. You've probably seen at least one of these Suns games. They beat Mavericks to open up the season. They didn't play their best basketball, but they won it. Then they went to Sacramento and lost. And then there's home back-to-back thing that they're doing. They played the Sacramento Kings again yesterday. Same lineup, same everything, and the Suns won. I'm fascinated by these back-to-backs playing the same teams because nothing changed. Like literally same starting lineup, everything. So it's just how did you play? What did you learn and how do you play? So I got to sneeze there. Maybe. So Phoenix Suns are 8th in total power, whatever, according to NBA.com. So good for them. I mean, it's too early in the season to decide how the team's going to be. I'm thinking we're going to need to be 6 to 8, maybe 6 to 10 games in the season before we know kind of what we're getting with any basketball team, let alone the Suns, with all these new players that they have. But, so I'm not jumping off a cliff. I'm not jumping for joy on any of these teams, but the Nets look super good. That's one thing I will say. I mean, Kevin Durant is on fire. And, I mean, just injuries all over the place. Karl Anthony Towns hurt his left wrist dislocation yesterday. Carmelo Anthony is going to miss the Blazers-Lakers game due to health and safety protocols. Another Warriors player got hurt, is out for the season. Marquise Chris, broken leg, I think it was. And the Warriors are just injury prone. Like they just go out on the court and get injured. What is going on with the Warriors, right? It's like what in the what? What in the what? Can I get a what? And accidentally closed my document that tells me what I'm talking about. So that's the NBA. I mean, nothing to panic about, nothing to get excited about. I mean, I will say DeAndre Ayton has played well defensively. Still falling into the same categories on the offensive side where he's not aggressive enough, things like that. But I do like what I see defensively from him. And I'm not going to lie to you. If his defense is if his defense is where it is and it's, gets better and his offense struggles a little bit, I might be okay with that. So this is what I'm talking about with the schedule, right? I mean, the Cleveland Cavaliers are 3-0 on the season. It's going to take a while to figure out where everybody's at, right? On there. The Chicago Bulls, on another note, my Chicago friends, 0-3 on the season. New head coach, needs to bring his own players in, needs to upgrade that roster. 0-3 on the season. Yay. Let's celebrate the donut. On the western side, shocker is the Denver Nuggets, who everybody has picked being the 3 or 4 seed in the Western over here, are 0-2 to start the season. Houston Rockets are 0-1. Nobody's really surprised by that. Of course, last Wednesday night, game was canceled because of issues with the COVID. Golden State Warriors are 1-2. Mavericks are 1-2. Portland's 1-1. Utah Jazz is 1-1. This is why you can't really go off of the first week of the season, because a lot of teams that you thought would be really good are not right now, and a lot of teams you thought were going to be really bad are winning. So, like the Kings are 2-1 right now. So, the Suns are in 5th place with a 2-1 record. They are actually tied. I'm assuming this is a tiebreaker. I don't know how they do it. But the way they have it listed is Thunder are in 1st place with a 1-0 record. By playing 2 less games, they're in the 1st place. Then you have the Pelicans, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Suns, the Kings, Timberwolves, and Spurs. So if the season ended today, folks, the Suns would be the 5 seed. Okay. It's Monday, folks. Stick with me here. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. Let's get some college football talk, right? Bowl games are going on. Is anybody watching any bowl game out there? Like, you can completely forget it's on. Because it's just games are canceled left and right. Teams aren't playing left and right. And I will say, though, I watched one full bowl game, and I watched half of one yesterday or 2 days ago. I forget now. My days run together. But I did watch the BYU game against UCF, whatever that was last week. And 49-23, BYU won it. Man, Zach Wilson, the quarterback for BYU, is quite the stud there. So I did watch that one. It was a blowout. It was a rout. But I enjoyed it. I watched a little bit of the Hawaii-Houston game, the New Mexico Bowl that was played in Frisco, Texas. Right? Welcome to 2020. Hawaii dominated that one. The old Todd Graham, the old ASU head coach, of course, is in Hawaii. 28-14. And then the game I was most interested in ended up being a really good game, but it wasn't for a while. But Liberty and Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina was all year long running their mouths, and then they finally played a ranked team, and they played BYU. BYU had to travel across the country on 2 days' notice to play a team they're completely unfamiliar with. BYU was in that game, but they ended up losing it, right? And so now they got to play, and they got to ramp up, and they got to play Liberty, who is 10-1 or 9-1 on the season going into this game. Small little Liberty, but Hugh Freeze is there. He's probably going to be back in the SEC next year as a head coach. Of course, if I talked about it earlier, his fall from grace as a good head coach at Ole Miss, I think it was, or Mississippi State. And he gets his chance back at good old vaunted Liberty University. Because when you think college football, you think Liberty. And so they go out there, Coastal Carolina. My favorite part of this bowl game, it was the Cure Bowl. Cure, the Cure Bowl. We're in the midst of this pandemic, all these things going on, and it's the FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl. But I'm assuming they mean like the mortgage curing, right? I don't know. There's no bands. Bands. Oh, good thing I unplugged your mic. Hopefully you guys just didn't hear that. Wow. Woo-wee. So anyway, this game was kind of a snooze fest for a while, and then Liberty goes out there. Coastal Carolina, it's 37-34 in overtime. Liberty goes down and scores a field goal to open up overtime. Coastal Carolina gets the ball, and they set up for a field goal there, and Liberty blocks it. I mean, players are doing snow angels on the field with no masks on, for those of you that care about that. I mean, there's no snow either, by the way. It's just he's doing grass angels. He's doing artificial turf angels. But blocked the field goal to win the game. Number 23, Liberty outlasts number 9, Coastal Carolina. And here's a shocker for you folks. For everybody that said Coastal Carolina should have been in the playoff, they deserved a shot in the playoffs. No, they didn't. They lost to Liberty. But it was a fun little game to watch there for a while. I mean, it was 475 total yards on offense for Liberty, 483 for Coastal Carolina. Liberty had 3 turnovers and still was in this game, still won it. I mean, it's just a fun little game for 2 mid-major conferences. And, I mean, the interesting thing about this game was, why are they still tracking attendance on all these sites, right? We get it. There's limited capacity there, but capacity is 65,000 people in Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. Attendance was 4,488, 7% occupancy. It just cracks me up how they still track that stuff, because who cares? We know what's going on, right? So that was a fun little game. If you missed it, sorry about that. So actually, tomorrow, December 29th, so Tuesday, you got the Cheez-It Bowl, which used to be here in Phoenix, and now it's in Orlando, Florida this year. Oklahoma State, Miami. That'll be a fun little game. Miami's a really good team. I'm interested in seeing if they can do it. Maybe tune in for that one. Texas, Colorado tomorrow. Yeah, whatever. Alamo Bowl. I'll probably watch it because there's nothing else going to be on. 7 p.m. our time here in Phoenix. Then the 30th, you have a bunch of games nobody cares about, right? The Duke's Mayo Bowl. Does the head coach get doused with mayo afterwards? Oh, that sounds delicious. Everybody's gagging as he. Just imagine the smell. The egg smells. He gets doused with mayo. Then you got the Cotton Bowl, Oklahoma, Florida. That'll be a fun game to watch there. Then, of course, the 31st, which is Thursday when I do the radio show this week. You got Ball State, San Jose State, and Tucson, which, I mean, I guess like some of that luster's out of that because Tucson hired their guy. Liberty Bowl, where Army did get a bowl game. They stepped in for Tennessee, who got the COVID and backed out of this game. So West Virginia Army, you get to see the 9-1 Army team who deserved to be in a bowl game. So they get to go and do it now. Then, of course, January 1st, you have the big, Cincinnati, Georgia Peach Bowl matchup there. Auburn, Northwestern, and the Citrus Bowl will be a lot of fun there as well. So, woohoo! Of course, what we're dealing with in this day and age. So, as we all know, right, Ohio State's playing Clemson in the playoff games coming up. Notre Dame is playing Alabama in the bowl games coming up in the semifinals. And I'm going to talk more about this on Thursday night, but I think both of these games are going to be. History says one of these games is a huge blowout, and one of these games is going to be close. If I'm a guessing man, Alabama Notre Dame is going to be a blowout and be boring to watch. Brian Kelly might agree with me. Head coach of Notre Dame says that the Fighting Irish have nothing to prove, despite blowout losses in the playoffs. So basically, despite blowout losses in Notre Dame's past two marquee games, Brian Kelly said on Monday that the Irish don't have anything to prove in Friday's college football playoff semifinal against number one Alabama. Of course, last time they faced Alabama was 2013 BCS National Championship game. And we all remember it well. 42-14 loss for the Notre Dame. They were just outmatched and belonged there. Of course, 2 years ago now, the Irish lost 30-3 to Clemson. So, Brian Kelly goes on to say, we're knocking at the door every year, playing really good teams and great opponents, and they're elite football teams. I don't know why this narrative continues to pop up when we're always in the game. No, we haven't won a national championship. That's correct. And I'm not changing the record, but we are here every single year, and we are grinding it out just like everybody else. He's ready for another blowout, folks. He just knows it's coming. He knows he has no chance in hell to win this game. He knows he's going to get blown out. And so he's like, I don't know why this narrative continues to pop up. Well, because it's a narrative that's true, Mr. Kelly. You get blown out in these situations. You don't play well. You look like garbage out there. And quite frankly, it's a complete waste of time to watch your football game. I'm going to watch this on Friday. I'm going to watch. I have a racing event I'm going to be at, but I will be watching. And I'm fully expecting you to do what you do best, man, and get blown out. And I expect you to next year complain again that you're grinding and you deserve to be there, and you don't understand why the narrative of getting blown out comes up when you get blown out. Notre Dame, by the way, folks, in case you think I'm being a little harsh on them, Notre Dame is a 20-point underdog in a national playoff game. Notre Dame is 20-point deficit underdog. People want to expand this to 6 games, to 8 games, to 12 games. In the first round, you have a 20-point underdog in a playoff game. Substitute any other team into that 4 spot. Do it. Make up a team. Give me another team. It's at least a 20-point deficit for that team, too. This is why playoffs should not be expanded, because it doesn't matter. There's always going to be 1 and 2 really, really, really good teams. Alabama, Clemson these last few years, and that's the case this year. The 3 and 4 seed doesn't even matter. It's inconsequential. It's just a money grab. It is a garbage game. It's going to be awful. So let's all sit down and enjoy it. Let's watch Notre Dame go on in flames. But I think it's kind of a joke that it's a 20-point underdog, and everybody's like, oh my God, they deserve to be there. If you're a 20-point underdog, you don't deserve to be there. They turn into Shaggy. Zoinks. This will be Notre Dame, according to ESPN stats and information, this will be Notre Dame's 7th appearance in a BCS or New Year's Six bowl game since 1998, when the BCS era began. You guys ready for this? The Irish are 0-6 in those games, having been outscored a total of 144 points. None of the 6 games were decided by fewer than 14 points. Yeah. Explain to me again how you want to expand the playoffs. This is the 4th best team. Like I said, pick another team. Florida, A&M. They've all lost to Alabama by a large amount. By 2 touchdowns. They went, oh, Cincinnati. Oh, you want Cincinnati in the playoffs? Oh, yeah, let's watch that. Then it'd be a 30-point underdog victory. Oh, yeah, let's get another. Name another team that can go into this and play with them. Oh, I'm waiting. No, oh, nobody? Okay. You guys are awfully quiet about it. So back in 2018, Brian Kelly, because he knew the narrative of getting blown out in these games, and back in 2018, he comes out and he says, this is, of course, the semifinal game against Clemson that they got blown out, 30-3 or whatever. He said that the program had undergone several changes, including the strength and conditioning program, on-field staff, and in recruiting. So we're improving our team to prepare for these games. Keep in mind that Notre Dame just got their butts handed to them by Clemson, 2 weeks ago? It doesn't matter. I mean, Notre Dame always loses. It's not their fault. They're not one of the two best teams in the country. But it's more of my point to say that we don't need an expanded playoff by any stretch. Because if you're going to expand it, you just have Clemson and Alabama as a whole nother level. And you have the other guys fight it out underneath them for the right to get blown out by one of those two teams. Because that's what we're seeing now. It's just going to be another blowout. Maybe not. Maybe Notre Dame can do it this year. Maybe this will be the year, right? Maybe this will be the year they'll stop that 0-6 streak and their last two blowout streaks. I will say this, though. I mean, if you're a betting man, if I was a betting man, these comments right here would make me put my money on Notre Dame to cover that 20. If you guys didn't get the sarcasm there. Running back Kyron Williams said, quote, "It's motivating. Not everybody in the world believes in us, but it's okay because we don't want anybody to believe in us besides us. We're going to go out there on Friday and do what we do best. Being an underdog is nothing new to us, and we're going to keep proving to the world who we are," unquote. Good luck with that. We'll talk more about that on Thursday's game as we get closer, of course. I know. I'm ultra sarcastic about this. I know. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't even know how to go for that. So, the other semifinal going on, we talked about it after it happened where the coaches poll came out and Dabo Swinney had a bunch of teams had Ohio State out of the 5 and 6 ranked team, knocking them down a little bit. But Dabo Swinney's the one coach that had them ranked 11th on the coaches poll ballot. Big uproar in Ohio State. Oh my God, we're so disrespected. Dabo Swinney doesn't believe in us. He doesn't think we can win. Nobody thinks you can win, Ohio State. Settle down. Settle down. So all this narrative is how Ohio State's all offended. Like, we deserve to be there. How dare him put us 11th? We're better than the 11th ranked team. We played 6 games. Settle down. Let the big boys speak, Ohio State fans. Clemson coach Dabo Swinney knows folks in Ohio aren't thrilled about where he ranked Ohio State on his ballot in the Amway coaches poll from USA Today. Of course, I said in number 11. But he's not backing down from the choice. Asked about this ranking on the Monday media session before the game. Of course, they're playing in the Allstate Sugar Bowl on Friday. Swinney said that he wasn't trying to slight his opponent, but rather felt it wasn't right to rank any team that hadn't played a full schedule of games in the top 10. He's not wrong. Watch how fast this narrative changes if Ohio State beats Clemson. I don't think they have a chance to do it, but this will be a closer game than even I think it will be, I don't think Clemson's going to blow them out by 20. It's going to be a 14-point game most of the game, I'm thinking. I'll have more on Wednesday. I'm going to do some more digging, more studying. And he goes on to say, there's no question Ohio State is good enough to beat us, to beat any of those 4 playoff teams, to be the national champion. That's not a question at all. I didn't rank anybody who didn't play 9 games or more with a top 10. That's why they were 11. I have all the respect in the world for Ohio State. Makes sense. But Ohio State fans, oh my God, we've been so disrespected. You played 6 freaking games. Settle down. And watch when they lose this game and they get blown out. And if they get blown out in this game, what's the narrative going to be? Oh, we only got 6 games in. We weren't able to gel properly. We needed a full season. Seriously. Enough. Garbage. I mean, he even knew his vote would go public. And he said he wasn't worried about the response. Because he has a valid point that play a full schedule to deserve to get in there, and you're going to get ranked high. So he's not wrong. Keep in mind, last year, just last year, and it feels like forever ago, Clemson did fall behind 16-0 in the Fiesta Bowl here in Phoenix against Ohio State. Then they came back and won the game. And then, of course, they lost to LSU in the championship game. So I expect, if Ohio State's using all this motivation from last year, that fumble that was returned for a touchdown that they ruled it not a fumble. I've seen a lot of my Ohio State fans posting stuff on that saying, I can't wait to see this revenge this year, blah, 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 blah. Well, Clemson has the same revenge factor, right? They were down 16-0 in that game. They're going to be motivated to come and win it there. They both have it. It's just everybody's on the Ohio State side because everybody's trying to pump them up because these games are not going to be exciting. Nobody wants to watch these 2 games. They're not exciting. Everybody's waiting for the Alabama-Clemson rematch. That's what everybody's waiting for. So they're hyping all this stuff up. So, whatever. Anyway, there's all the upset people with hurt feelings in Ohio. We can get you therapy dolls, Ohio, if you need it. You can point on the doll where it hurts, where the football teams hurt you. What? It's such a lovely time of the year. Bunch of grown people crying about their rankings and how a coach ranked them 11th on a coaching poll. And Brian Kelly saying, we don't deserve to be ranked, told that we get blown out in these games. I feel like the narrative's changed. No, it hasn't changed at all. Go out and win this weekend, and then the narrative can change. Same thing, Ohio State. We deserve to be there. We won 6 games. Then go win the game. And even then, I'm going to say you don't deserve to be there. Because you don't. 6 games. Let's get to where all the giant babies are more so than in college football. Let's get to NFL talk. What a interesting round of games yesterday. Huge playoff implications, not just yesterday, Friday, Saturday, and then yesterday. Get all overload of football because it's all going away soon. Right? So, Friday's game, of course. Saints played the Vikings. 52-33.
Day in and day out. Because
the only thing you can really say on this game is, hey, Vikings, cover Alvin Kamara, man.
Pepsi, made for football. Watch.
6 touchdowns against you. Go ahead and get him. Cover him.
Yeah, that's a guy when they were in man coverage, they like to match up on Alvin Kamara. He's an athletic guy, very fast. It's a good matchup for Minnesota.
Alvin Kamara.
Here's a handoff to Sanders for a first down carry.
How long has this been playing?
Kamara again.
So I need to put my headphones on. So that ad's probably been playing for a while now, right? Oh well. At least it was highlights. Dalvin Cook had a great game. And it was the Alvin Kamara show, no doubt about it. NFL record tying 6 rushing touchdowns. Michael Thomas is out, as we all know, till the playoff times. And then Dalvin Cook had a good game, but it didn't matter because the Saints are now 11-4. Good for them. Here's the question on, I think with the way the Vikings started this season, Obviously I put the head coach onto the hot seat. And he's still going to be on the hot seat, but he's not getting fired at this point. The Vikings are back. They're 6-9. They were in the playoff chase these last couple of games. He had one game where his field goal kicker let him down. Yesterday, they lost to a really good Saints team. No chance for them to go to the playoffs now, right? And his new contract that they just signed him to an extension to in the offseason kicks in this year. So with everything going on in the NFL, they're just not going to get rid of Zimmer. They're going to give him one more year. But if you're given one more year with a team that looks like this, they're going to be the same team next year, and then they'll get rid of him. But he's safe. His job's safe. Kirk Cousins, he has his ups and downs, but he's a serviceable quarterback. Justin Jefferson had a great rookie year. He's in the top for offensive rookie of the year, even though I think Herbert gets it. No questions, hands down. Even though head coach Mike Zimmer ripped the defense after the game, if you didn't hear those stories, he basically said this defense, I don't think he basically said it. This is exactly what he said. Quote, "This is a bad defense. Worst one I've ever had." Oh. He's a defensive coach too, everybody. He literally is the guy that put that defense together. Just throwing that out there. That's why he's on the hot seat. Why I don't think he deserves to come back, but the Vikings will probably keep him around for another year. Good luck, Vikings, because the Packers are still going to be good. The Bears are looking good again, right? Division gets a little rough here going forward, and you're just, Breeze looked good. He passed 80,000 yards for his career on Friday. I mean, he's still working his way back into game shape and everything. One thing I did notice is he does protect the ribs a lot. He short threw a couple of those. I mean, he didn't follow through all the way, so he could get his hands down and protect his ribs. That's not good when you're throwing a football. You need the follow through. But he looked better than he did the week before against the Chiefs. So, like I said, good job, Alvin Kamara. Vikings out of the playoffs. Saints are still in it for the number 1 seed going forward. Absolutely. So, Saturday's games came up then, right? That was a kind of a blowout Christmas Eve, but it was fun watching Alvin Kamara, right?
He had 87 touchdowns.
Oh, got another ad there. Yay. Saturday's games are another story because it affects the Cardinals, obviously, and we're all depressed about that. But the Dolphins, Tampa Bay played the Lions in the early game that day. Yay. They didn't start off so well. Detroit Lions were down, 19-0. Matt Stafford goes out really quickly in this game. I was like second drive or something, right? It's ridiculous. And the Detroit Lions just looked like garbage the rest of the day. Detroit. Most of Detroit's coaching staff was out in this game because, COVID protocol, stuff like that. The Detroit Lions just look like they're done playing. The Bucs just took advantage of a Lions team that just didn't look like they wanted to be there. Half their coaching staff out. The team, they lost Matthew Stafford to an ankle injury early in the first quarter. Yeah, so it was like the second drive or something. And then it was just downhill from there. Hey, what do you know? Buccaneers offense just dominated that. And Buccaneers clinched the playoff spot for the first time in a lot of years. So there we go. The one thing that is concerning for Tampa Bay, besides them being an up and down team, I did say at the beginning of the season, one of my bold predictions was that the Buccaneers were going to win 10 games, but it was going to be an up and down 10. They're going to look bad some games. You're not going to like how they get there, but they're going to get to 10 wins. They did. Yay. Look at me. I'm smart. But, so you got to worry about their inconsistency, obviously, things like that. But then also, Ryan Suckup, their field goal kicker, He missed 3 kicks, 2 extra point, 2-point after attempts, and a 42-yard field goal. Something to watch because once kickers start missing, it can go downhill quickly, and you're going to need that in the playoffs, obviously. So Tampa Bay, congratulations in the playoffs for the first time in a lot of years. I want to say 2007, but don't quote me on that. Then the Cardinals Rewind podcast that I do is going to be extra fun this week. Niners, I'd say come to Glendale, but since they're already here, because they're playing here instead of California. How do we say this? 49ers came in and beat a disinterested Cardinals team that controlled their destiny to get into the playoffs, and they acted like they were out of the playoffs and just wanted to go play golf. CJ Beathard, of course, third stringer, looked like a professional. Jeff Wilson, the backup running back. I mean, the 49ers had almost 400 yards of offense. Wilson had 22 carries, 183 yards, 1 receiving touchdown. It didn't matter on Sunday. The George Kittle return and made that offense look good for the Niners. Their star tight end. CJ Beathard was 13 of 22 for 182 yards. Can I get more depressed as I talk? Niners defense was energetic. Cardinals whole team was just lethargic. I was watching this game with the intern, and I said, like, in the second quarter, Cardinals are going to lose this game. I said before the game, I was talking to Hoffa and Texter and All Access crew member and Fourth Dimension member for the Blender and all of that stuff. And I was talking to him before the game about some other stuff, and the Lions were losing, and of course, and I said I'm worried about today's game. This is a game the Cardinals should win by a lot, and I said specifically, this is also a game that they tend to lose. It's my fault. I spoke it into existence. And then I just saw it coming. Then in the third quarter, it was like, all right, they're going to wake up a little bit here. They just never woke up. It was like a bad dream, right? They couldn't figure out that 49ers defense, how to get around it, how to dominate it, how to make things happen. I mean, tight ends were dropping balls that were hitting them in the hands. I'm talking to you, Dan Arnold, who we've been propping up for a couple of weeks now. Christian Kirk dropped the ball in the end zone again. DeAndre Hopkins did set the franchise single-season reception record with 110, but he only plays on the left side of the field, and he runs short routes for the most part. He goes on the field a little bit, but I can't figure out why they don't move him around. It's weird. One thing I noticed, guys, I'm going to talk about this on the Cardinals Rewind podcast. Check it out later in the week. Anybody notice how the Cardinals weren't going for field goals at the 30-yard line, 35-yard line? How they were going for it? Early in the season, they were kicking them and making them and missing them. Anybody else notice that? Yeah, Mike Nugent can't kick those long of field goals, so they have to go for those. And guess what happened? They didn't convert them. Not all of them. They converted a couple of them. Something to watch. But good news is the Cardinals lost it. Bears got into that 7th spot. But the Cardinals got some help yesterday. So the Cardinals are still in control of their destiny. They beat the Rams this weekend. They're in. Winner of the game this weekend gets in. Loser possibly goes home. Cardinals have to win and they're in. Rams have some other scenarios. So they at least control their destiny again this weekend. Not at least one team, they have to beat them. It's not like they have to rely on the Bears to lose and stuff like that anymore. Perfect. Here's the problem. We'll talk about it later on. Jared Goff broke his thumb. He's probably not going to play, but they'll keep it a secret. But it's not going to matter if the team goes out and plays like they did on Sunday when they're disinterested. Same thing with Carolina, a game earlier. Same thing with the Dolphins game earlier this year. If you're going to go and play with those standards and that garbage, it doesn't matter who on the other side. You just got beat by third-string CJ Beathard, a backup running back, had all Hall of Fame stats against you. It doesn't matter if you're not going to show up. But I'll have more on the Cardinals Rewind podcast coming up. Just depressing. Then the other game was Miami Dolphins and the Raiders. What a game this was. This is why, if you didn't see this game, first of all, Tua got benched. Again, they went to Fitzpatrick under 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And Fitzpatrick went in there and jump-started the Dolphins' offense that was stagnant up until that point. The Raiders retook the lead with 19 seconds remaining on the game. Yeah, you heard that right. 19 seconds, the Raiders took the lead. 19 seconds left on the clock. 1-9, 19 seconds. On his first play, Fitzpatrick hit Matt Collins on the sideline for a huge gain. Then, if you didn't see this play, it's fantastic. He literally gets his helmet ripped off his head. I mean, face mask, guy tilts it. If you look at the picture, his body's bent sideways there as he's throwing it, and he still completes the ball. Fantastic. 34-yard. They're calling it the blind completion. Then there's a 15-yard penalty on top of it for, basically, it was like a 15-yard penalty, ripping the guy's head off. The guy's like holding his bloody head, and he's like, "What are you talking about? It just fell off. I just picked it up." And then Jason Sanders hit a game-winning field goal to win the game. So one thing Brian Flores is doing that I like, actually, is he's letting Tua get the start and seeing what he can do. Then if they need a spark at some point in the game, he's not afraid to switch the quarterbacks. It's the second time that Flores has benched Tua in the fourth quarter in favor of Fitzpatrick. And the offense runs better with Fitzpatrick on there. They stretch the field with him in there. It's interesting for a team that's possibly going to the playoffs here in the Dolphins, right? The Raiders, on the other hand, are 7-8 on the year, and what a way to lose. This was Atlanta Falcon-esque way to lose here. Of course, the Raiders have officially been eliminated from the playoffs. Derek Carr in the offense didn't convert a single third down all game, 0 for 10. The red zone offense, 1 touchdown on 4 trips. The defense couldn't stop anybody. Of course, Daniel Carson missed a PAT, which is one of the reasons why the Dolphins were able to win. I mean, there were some, PI calls, some non-PI calls that were questionable in here. But basically it comes down to the bottom line is the Raiders could have scored a touchdown at the end of the game, and they decided to down the ball and drain the clock down and kick a field goal for the win. That's why the Dolphins got the ball back with 19 seconds left. Instead of scoring the touchdown and getting a bigger lead, they settled for the field goal, made it, gave the ball back to Fitzpatrick, and he went down and won. Folks, if you have the opportunity to score a touchdown, unless you can drain the clock completely off, you score the touchdown and make them go down and score a touchdown. You don't play the field goal and give the ball back to somebody with 19 seconds left. It doesn't happen often. And when it happens, it's spectacular. And boy, do you look stupid when it happens against you. Right? Dolphins' outlook for next week is simple. Win next week over Buffalo. That's not a simple outlook. But, it's an outlook. I mean, it's a simple outlook, I guess, but it's not a simple thing to do. The one thing I will say is Buffalo might not have nothing to play for next week, so it might become easier. The Bills might play some backups and whatnot, but the Bills need to beat the the Dolphins need to beat the Bills next week, and they're in the playoffs. Hello. Was that Santa in my headphones? Santa, come back. I didn't get everything I wanted. Then we get to Sunday's games. Woo, Nelly.
Why do I show up?
I don't know why
day
you
in
show
and
up.
day out?
Do you hear that?
Because I am a foot.
That's fantastic. I hope you guys can hear these ads because I'm responding to the ads. Of course, last night, Sunday night football game, we got our first snow game, big snow game. Green Bay Packers and Tennessee Titans. At least there was snow because it turned into the Tennessee did come back. It was 19-0, then it was 19-14, and then Green Bay went on to score 40 points. The Green Bay Packers looked better in snow than the Titans did. The Titans looked like they were, they weren't slipping, but they looked like they weren't running at full speed, and the Green Bay was just running around them. Right? Titans are 10-5 on the year. But if you're in the NFC, you got to go through Green Bay possibly. So it's a great deal. So Travis Kelce looked really good yesterday. I'm sorry, wrong here. Wrong teams here. So now I'm just making stuff up apparently. So Green Bay's there. We'll get into the playoff scenarios here in a minute. But the Seahawks beat the Rams, which affects the Cardinals, of course. I'm getting a text from an intern, and she's sitting across from me here. Let me log in and check this out here. Oh, breaking news! I was actually going to touch on this because they announced. So let me go to this article real quick here. Breaking news. So after yesterday's game, the Washington football team announced this morning that they are going to start Taylor Heineke this weekend if Alex Smith can't play. Basically benching Dwayne Haskins. And Dwayne Haskins had a horrible game yesterday. Of course, last week they lost and he went to the club, did a lot of things he's not supposed to do. And got the start yesterday. Played absolutely like garbage. When the Washington, if they would have won it, they would have won the division. But they set Alex Smith for another week. Of course, Terry McLaurin was out as well. Then Haskins left. The facilities didn't meet with the media like he's required to per NFL rules. And it's breaking right now that Washington has now released Haskins after yesterday's game and everything. So Dwayne Haskins is no longer part of the Washington football team. They gave him every opportunity to be there and to, learn and grow, and he just kept blowing it. So, quote, this afternoon I met with Dwayne and informed him that we would be releasing him. I told him that I believe it benefits both parties that we go our separate ways. We want to thank Dwayne for his contributions these last 2 seasons and wish him well moving forward. Of course, Ron Rivera, the Washington head coach, said today. They drafted this guy number 15 in the 2019 draft. Of course, he was benched in the fourth quarter Sunday after throwing 2 interceptions and losing a fumble. The 20-13 loss to the Carolina Panthers. Keep in mind, last week he was fined $40,000 and they stripped him of his captaincy after his violating COVID protocols. Of course, he was photographed at a birthday party. So, breaking news. Go team. Just when you give somebody so many opportunities and they keep blowing them, what are you going to do? Make the move, So as I was back to Seattle Seahawks 20, Rams 9. This helps the Cardinals because it's just hitting my phone everywhere now. Okay, everybody, I get it. I've already announced it. My sources say Dwayne Haskins is getting cut by the Redskins, by the Washington football team. Seattle Seahawks won the NFC West yesterday, but the way this game works is by the Seahawks beating the Rams, it's in the Cardinals' destiny. See, Cardinals beat the Rams, they're in the playoffs. They lose to the Rams, they're not. So great game. Jared Goff, as I said, broke his thumb and actually dislocated as well, and he popped his thumb back into place on the field. There's actually close-up video of him doing it. It's fantastic. If you're into that sort of thing, just he's looking at it, and he goes right back into place. Fantastic. But Jared Goff was playing not very well before that. So Seattle's back on top. Rams lost. We'll get into playoff scenarios in a bit. But this helped the Cardinals because now they control their own destiny. They win. They're in. Rams, who were a 5 seed, can get knocked out of the playoffs this weekend as well. So, Colts at Steelers. Woo, what a game. Colts had this game in hand. Pittsburgh Steelers had to come back to win it. Steelers were down 24-7. The Steelers defense finally started playing well there. And the Indianapolis's last 7 offensive possessions finished in this way: punt, field goal, punt, interception, turnover on downs. And Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers offense took advantage of it. Rivers was sacked 5 times. TJ Watt, by the way, man, 15 sacks on the year. Fantastic. So the Steelers still couldn't run the ball in this game. 14 carries, 21 yards. Seriously, that's the Steelers running numbers from yesterday. So Ben carried him in there. So they have no faith in the running game anymore, the Steelers, and it showed in that losing streak that they had. But the Steelers did win the AFC North. They're 12-3 now. Trying to do math. So we'll see what happens this weekend. So Browns at Jets. Well, Jets, congratulations. You decided to start winning at the end of the season when you probably should be losing, right? But the players don't care. They want to win. They don't care about the draft picks. They just want to win. Jets have a 2-game winning streak now. Save Adam Gase's job. Woohoo! 2-0. 2 wins in a row. The Jets are still fighting and playing hard. That is one thing I will say, is they are doing that. Of course, the Browns, who are 10-5 now, became the latest team to take a big hit for the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, they were decimated on offense. The Browns lost their top 4 receivers to close contacts from a positive test. 2 starting linebackers. Left tackle Jarek Willis was ruled out due to illness. And rookie starter Nick Harris at right guard because Wyatt Teller was hurt. The team's flight to Newark was delayed over 4 hours due to the late arriving COVID tests and contact tracing that followed. They had basically roll out Jamarcus Bradley, a practice squad player, Marvin Hall, as their 2 best receivers. So as you can guess how this went for the Browns, it didn't go. Their offense struggled badly, bigly, as somebody would used to say. They turned the ball over twice, and then they game on the line, and their third, they turned it over on downs. They couldn't complete it. I mean, here's the weird thing, right? The coach, Kevin Stefanski, the Browns coach, even with all these receivers being out, their top receivers are practice squad guys. Their main guys are all out. Kevin Stefanski chose to throw the ball 53 times when they have Nick Chubb in that running game. When the Browns did run the ball, they didn't do much with it. They didn't even give it a chance. They just wanted to throw the ball with no receivers. Ridiculous. So COVID can kill you. I mean, this is what's coming for the playoffs and everything, too. If a team gets hit like this before a playoff game, it's going to be over quickly. So, see what happens. Cleveland can still make the playoffs by beating Pittsburgh in Week 17. Of course, like I said, the Steelers just clinched the AFC North title. However, the Steelers still have something to play for. I mean, he can rest his starters ahead of a home playoff game, or he can eliminate the Browns. And this is a heated rivalry, don't get me wrong. So do the Steelers play their guys to eliminate the Browns, or do they do it and let the Browns in the playoffs, right? And lose. Chiefs-Falcons. Chiefs, I don't know what their deal is. I'm assuming that they're just bored with how they're playing and they're just waiting for the playoffs to get here. But they had to come back late in this game, 17-14, to beat the Falcons. Chiefs clinched the AFC's number 1 seed. The other thing is Falcons kicker Young Ho Koo missed a 39-yard field goal to tie the game with 14 seconds left. There's 27 straight field goals made, and he missed one. Right? This game was a slugfest. Travis Kelce on the Chiefs game-winning drive set the single-season tight end receiving yardage record. It beat George Kittle's mark. So Chiefs have the number 1 seed. Struggled against the Falcons, but pulled out the win at the end. It's what the Chiefs do, right? Bears Jaguars. Not a lot happened here. Of course, Allen Robinson was once a Jacksonville receiver. He's now on the Bears. Got 10 passes, 103 yards. Bears won this one 41-17. They're now in the 7th seed in the NFC playoff picture. They control their own destiny. They win against the Packers this week. They are in the playoffs. I will say this also. I have the head coach here of the Bears, Matt Nagy, on the hot seat all season and said he needs to be fired. However, the way they've come back and fought after they went back to Trubisky and they're in the playoff hunt, whether they make it or not, I think Matt Nagy gets another year to see what he can do with this Bears team. I'm not saying it's the right choice. I'm saying that's the way the ownership's going to look at it. And it's not the wrong way to look at it. So unless there's something behind the scenes, Matt Nagy's coming back next year. Trubisky's looked good since he's been back on the field. David Montgomery's been playing well as a run thing. They figured it out. All the Bears need to do on Sunday is beat the Green Bay Packers, or the Cardinals need to lose, and the Bears are in the playoffs. Packers have something to play for this week, so it's not going to be an easy victory for them. So they're probably going to be rooting for the Rams to beat the Cardinals this weekend. The other thing, Jaguars loss, coupled with the New York Jets win, clinches the number 1 overall draft pick for the Jaguars. So nothing matters anymore. The Jaguars play the Colts this weekend. They can win, they can lose, they can draw. They can not show up. They're getting the number 1 draft pick. This year, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. Carolina Panthers 20-13. We talked about this already. Washington all they had to do was win on Sunday to clinch the NFC East, and they didn't look like they wanted to. They're 6-9 now. They turned the ball over 3 times in the first half. Dwayne Haskins, now former Washington football team member, obviously being in there, had a fumble loss and an interception in the first half. Just played like garbage. So hopefully Alex Smith can come back because Washington needs to win this game on Sunday to get into the playoffs. I think that'd be great to see. I would love to see that. But they need Alex Smith in there to do it, I believe, 1,000%. Right? Obviously, Terry McLaurin needs to come back for the Washington football team also, because even if they can't go with Alex Smith, they're going to need him in there to do some stuff, because they don't have depth at receiver by any stretch. And of course, as we said a little bit ago, Dwayne Haskins has been released from the Washington football team, no longer part of that team. Obviously, not a fit. Obviously, didn't fit into the system. Didn't want a chance after chance. Just wanted to blow it. So got his wish. Eagles at Cowboys. Cowboys win this one big, 37-17. Big news here is the Eagles are eliminated from playoff contention in that division. Cowboys, however, are still in it. Believe it or not, at 3-9, they're still in it. Michael Gallup finally had a great game. Amari Cooper did. CeeDee Lamb had a good game. Even Ezekiel Elliott decided to show up. 19 rushes for 105 yards. Of course, 31 of those came on that late fourth quarter run. So, Dallas took a 13-point lead, intercepted Jalen Hurts in the end zone, then went 3 and out while gaining 0 yards in the process, setting up the Eagles with another ideal situation. Hurts was then tackled and appeared to be down, but an on-field fumble ruling stood after questionable review. Then Darius Slay intercepted Dalton in a timely situation, and the Eagles promptly gained 23 yards on 5 plays while also racking up 20 yards in penalties. Math wizards, that's a net gain of 3 yards before turning it over on downs. This is how bad the NFC East football game teams are. Philadelphia had chances to get back into this game. Dallas had plenty of chances to put the Eagles away. 17 penalties committed between the two teams. Eagles had 12 of them. Yeah. So the Cowboys still need help. Basically, Washington has to lose in Week 17 to make the playoffs. Washington wins, they're in. Washington loses, and Dallas wins next weekend, they're in. I know. They're 6-9. Does anybody care? New York Giants and the Baltimore Ravens. Man, how the mighty Giants have fallen. 4-game winning streak. Promptly led into, a 3 or 4 game losing streak now. 27-13. Baltimore Ravens keep their playoff hopes alive in that tough AFC there. The Ravens running game just dominated against the Giants. It's the 38th straight game. The Ravens have run for 100-plus rushing yards. It's the second longest streak in the NFL since 1948. 70 Steelers were the only other team to do that. Just fascinating. I didn't think the Ravens were that good of a running team, but there you go, right? Daniel Jones just looked he's looked horrible since his thigh injury. Of course, the Cardinals, and he sat out last week and then back again. He was sacked 6 times, Daniel Jones was. The Ravens are now 10-5. They're playing really well. If they make it to the playoffs, they might surprise a team or two there. So with Indianapolis losing on Sunday, that helps the Ravens' chances to get in. The Ravens now just need a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 17 to make the playoffs. So the Ravens should make the playoffs. They should beat the Bengals. The Giants are technically still alive, but I mean it's such a small percentage, right? Washington and Philadelphia, basically they have to win, and then Philadelphia has to beat Washington, and Dallas, because then they're going to be the Dallas. It's a thing. They have a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. I would like to think there's not a chance, but there probably is a chance. Chargers beat the Broncos over the weekend. I'm fully on board with the Anthony Lynn is going to be dismissed of his duties as the head coach of the Chargers at the end of the season. That hot seat's super hot there. Keenan Allen was out again with a hamstring injury, and that Chargers offense struggled because of it. So Chargers are 5-10 now. Drew Lock still cannot get on the same page with Jerry Jeudy, the first-round draft pick receiver for the Broncos, and it was bad. Jeudy was targeted 15 times for just 6 catches. Jeudy at one point threw his helmet on the sideline in frustration. They're just not matching. There's no mesh there. They're not matching up or anything. So both teams, of course, are out of the playoffs. They don't really matter to anything. Horrible game all around. Bengals, Texans. Bengals 37, Texans 31. Yeah. Bengals are on a 2-game winning streak now. Woohoo. Bengals quarterback Brandon Allen, of course, making only his 7th career start because Joe Burrow's been out injured. He looked really good. So the Texans defense made him look good. Yeah, Houston is just a lot of stuff. David Johnson had a great game yesterday. Fantastic game. He's coming back from all that. It's his first 100-yard game as a Texan, 128 yards on 12 carries. He looked really good. So it's going to be interesting to see what Houston does in the offseason because they need help everywhere. J.J. Watt went off after the game saying guys aren't preparing, guys aren't ready to play. All right, whatever. It happens, right? So, I mean, we talked about all the weird scenarios in the NFC East. Basically, Washington wins, they win it. Washington loses and Dallas wins, they get the NFC East to the playoffs. If the Giants win and Washington loses, and then like the moon crescents at a 42-degree angle on a Thursday on the Tuesday after the Wednesday, then the Giants can win the NFC East. Eagles have been eliminated. So go team. So the playoff standings as we stand right now, as I said, Tennessee Titans. So it goes Kansas City's in the 1 seed. Steelers are in the 2 seed. Buffalo Bills are in the 3 seed. They do play tonight. They win. They can go to 12-3 on the year with the Steelers. Titans are in the 4 seed right now. Miami Dolphins are in the 5 seed. They need a win this weekend. Baltimore Ravens are in the 6 seed. They got to win this weekend. And the Browns, 10-5, are in the 7th seed. They need to win this weekend. And, of course, the 8th seed is the Colts, 10-5. They're outside looking in. They need to win this weekend. Basically, we have 5 teams at 10-5, and the Colts are outside looking in because they lose every tiebreaker to the teams ahead of them. So this weekend, winning, you're in for the most part. Colts need a little bit of help. AFC's tough, man. We'll talk more about that on the show Thursday. I got sneeze again. COVID. My eyes are all watering now. Oh, Lordy. I sneeze everywhere. In the NFC, Green Bay got the 1 seed right now, 12-3. They do need to win again. They can still lose that. Then 2 seed is Saints, 3 seed is Seattle, and New Orleans. They're both 11-4. New Orleans gets the second spot because of a tiebreaker. Right now, Washington's leading the NFC East, so they're the 4 seed because they win the tiebreaker over Dallas. Washington wins their ends. Period. And they're the Sunday night game. So Dallas wins that morning game. Washington plays in the afternoon, plays at the night game. Be interesting to watch. Winning, you're in. Buccaneers are the 5 seed. They've clinched a playoff thing at 10-5, so they're in regardless. Just matter what their seeding is. Rams are currently the 6th seed. The Bears are the 7th seed. As I said, they swapped with the Cardinals, with them winning and the Cardinals losing this weekend based on the tiebreaker. So Cardinals are the 8th seed and looking up. Everybody else to get into the playoffs is only in the NFC East. Everybody else has been eliminated. So the Cowboys and the Giants can still get into the playoffs if things fall their way properly. And, go from there. So Cardinals 8-7, Bears 8-7. Bears have to beat the Packers this weekend. They're in no matter what. The Chicago Bears lose this weekend. They need to have the Cardinals lose. And then the Bears are in. Cardinals have to win to get in. If they lose, they're out no matter what. Because the Bears, even if they lose, they'll get that 7th seed due to tiebreakers. So basically, Bears and Cardinals have to win to get in. Which, if that happens, means the Los Angeles Rams, other people call them the Lambs, would be out of the playoffs if they lose this weekend going into the playoffs. So a lot of implications this weekend. It's going to be exciting and fun to watch. Good time of the year to watch a lot of NFL football. Absolutely. Love this time of year. So much on the line. 5-game pick'ems. Of course, we talked about really quick before we get into pick'ems. Los Angeles Rams. Jared Goff injured his thumb. We'll have to wait and see, but it's not looking good for him to start. We'll have more on that Cardinals Rewind podcast that comes out, where I review last week's very disappointing game and look forward to the final deal. There's a lot on the line. Be fun. There's no reason not to be optimistic about this Cardinals team and this weekend. This is all I want. Just be in the running for the playoffs at the end of the season. Their second-year team, they should make it. If they don't, All right, they were in the running till the end. Now let's learn and grow from it. 5-game pick'em plus a bonus game this week. We had Vikings Saints, 49ers Cardinals, Colts Steelers, Bears Jaguars, Rams Seahawks, Titans Packers. For the hosts, Adam, Kaler, Izzy. Jerks went 4-2 on the week. They shouldn't. You guys shouldn't be beating the boss, man. Come on. 4-2. And there's different combinations. Basically, Cardinals, Colts are very similar. Izzy had the 49ers winning it, but he lost the Titans game. So last night. Of the All Access crew, these guys are jerks also. Mikkel and Intern. They went 4-2 on the also. They both missed the Cardinals and the Colts. Did I forget anybody? I don't think I did. I went 3-3. Wah. Yeah. I lost the Cardinals, the Colts, and the Titans. So 3-3. I'm wearing the whatever it's called, dog collar, horse collar, cow collar, whatever insulting thing you want to say to me. 3-3 on the season here. So this week, all down to the bottom this week. And we'll get the totals out and see who won. All the suspense to see who wins. We'll have those picks on Thursday night on the radio show like we always do. So, lots of news today. Brian Kelly saying Notre Dame has nothing to prove, even though they get blown out all the time. Dwayne Haskins has been released by the Washington football team today. We talked about Major League Baseball. Padres getting Blake Snell in a trade that's being finalized. We talked about all the playoff scenarios for the NFL teams. Phoenix Suns in the power rankings is 8th. They're 2-1 on the season. They did lose to Sacramento in that first game there. Like I said earlier, it's too early. A lot of injuries happening in the NBA right now. A lot. Of course, the big news there is Kawhi Leonard sat out with the stitches to his face. We won't say why again. It's none of our business. But he was out. They were down by 50 points at halftime to the Mavericks. Yay, team. So let's check and see really quick. Let me just make sure what else breaking news is out there. Maybe somebody else is getting released today. Right? Before we go. No, nothing. So that's it. So follow me at SMAC500, SMAC500, personal Twitter. And then, of course, at the Main Event Pod. It's where we put all the show notes up. The shows get posted there, and then also Big Steve's thoughts when I have thoughts, they get put up there as well. So follow that for that information. Keeps clogging up on Facebook and on Twitter. Keeps clogging up the personal stuff. Of course, everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. See y'all next time.